Hello and welcome to the Power of Passive Investing. We are very excited, guys. Today we have a very interesting guest, Brad Mullen. I know a lot of our guests usually come with pure real estate background, but Brad's background a little bit different. In addition to being a real estate investor, he has other ventures that he's going to share and talk about today. So without further ado, Brad, the floor is yours. Please share with our audience a little bit about you, your family, your businesses, and just give us your bio, please.
Good morning, and thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. Hopefully I can add some value today to your listeners. So real estate is basically has enabled me to create wealth in other areas. I started, I went to college well, let me back up. I live in Pennsylvania, northeast central PA, sort of about an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on traffic, northwest of Philadelphia. And we kind of live out in the middle of nowhere, very rural area for the most part. I live in a town of 3,000 people. Um, and Born and raised here, lived here my whole life, never left, really. And when I went to college, Alvernia University is where I graduated from with a dual degree in business accounting and finance and business administration. I went to school for finance because I knew that I was going to be able to take over my grandfather's financial advisory business if I wanted to when I got out of school and put a little bit of time in, and that kind of seemed like the best route for me at the time. Um, Found out after doing that I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I would. And the market crashed in 2008, and I was going through a divorce, and I got real cynical about a lot of things in that time period, and decided to exit that business. So in 2010, I completed the sale of it, and wasn't quite sure where I was going after that. I was going to join the military, just get out of small town USA and see the world, and I thought that would be a good opportunity, but it never happened. So I'm still here, and I spent about a year and a half to 2 years um, figuring out what I was going to do next. Um, was trying to get in the military, was trying to get into the FBI. I've tested for them, the DEA. I just thought that would be more exciting than what I was doing, and none of that ever panned out. So I ended up taking a job as a financial analyst for a large manufacturing company, and they gave me the job to develop their divisional P&L. They had four different sales divisions that were borrowing time and resources from each other, but it wasn't tracked well. And it was my job to create the system to do that. Took me about a year and a half, and I was bored again. Um, Stuck in corporate America just wasn't for me. Um, I knew I was capable of doing more than uh, just showing up and going through the motions. I just always wanted to be rewarded for the risk that I was willing to take. Um, and sitting in a cubicle all day just wasn't getting it done for me. So, um, back up a little bit. 2007 is when I made my first real estate investment. And how that came about, I had this investment advisory business, and I had met with this client every so often. We'd meet, go over his portfolio, and we talk about his accounts for a little bit, and we'd spend most of that time talking about his real estate, which I had nothing to do with at the time. It just interested me, so I had lots of questions. And he was doing really well in real estate, and it just piqued my interest. And I would leave meeting with him wondering why he's messing around with stocks and bonds, and the stuff I was handling for him when he was doing so well in real estate. And I had an opportunity in 2007 to buy uh, a house that had smoke and fire damage. It was actually two doors down from my office at the time. And I bought that, rehabbed it, and took the money I made on that, I flipped it and bought three more. And that's kind of how I started my real estate journey. And I thought, this is great. I wish I could just do this over and over again. So I started flipping houses. I was a weekend warrior. Nights and weekends, I was flipping houses. And great time to get into it in 2007, right before everything fell apart.
Yeah, I was
So
gonna ask, yeah.
yeah. So I did that for a little bit and then kind of paused because everything wasn't looking well. I was selling my business. I was going through a divorce. And so I get spit out the other side of this in 2010 with a few rental properties, a couple flip projects going, and really no substantial income except for, what I had from the business sale, which at that time wasn't a lot. I mean, it was a lot for a guy that was 25, but I was blowing through that pretty quick. So that's why I ended up taking a job as a financial analyst working for somebody else. Just wasn't quite sure where I was going at the time. Um, so I ended up working this corporate job and I was still flipping houses. And I had a project I was working on by myself, pretty for the most part. And it was a great learning experience. I was, doing everything from a roof to the basement. And I had a friend that was in construction, a very talented guy. He lived in New Orleans at the time, and we grew up together here in my hometown. And he moved down to New Orleans after Katrina to to make some money rebuilding down there. And his father passed away, so he came home to help his mom out and didn't have anything going on here at the time. And I said, "Hey, why don't you come help me finish his house?" Because I was kind of struggling getting it all done myself. It just, it takes forever when you do everything, but you know,
Yep.
so he did, and we got to talking about real estate investing and how I wish I could just do that full time. I really enjoyed it. And he's like, "Let's do it. Why don't you just quit your job and we'll do it?" And I'm like, "Well, I just can't. I can't do that." I just wasn't quite ready for that. And over a couple of weeks, he convinced me to do that. We started a construction company, and the plan was, with his construction background and my business background, that we would be a good fit for each other. Um, and we were friends since first grade, so nothing could go wrong, right? Um,
I like the introduction, Brad.
so we started this company. We were always busy, never made really any money, but we were busy. And he was he's a very carefree guy. Um, I'm a little bit different than he is in that regards, and we didn't work well together. We're still friends today, but it was like fire and gasoline at some point.
It's
Um,
interesting that you said, I'm sorry, I'm interrupting you, that you guys are still friends together. I mean, it sounds like
yeah, it
you had
was.
challenges, but you worked out.
I think luckily there wasn't a ton of money involved, so um, but yeah, we never did any flips together. That was the plan. Like we'd start
Mhm.
this construction company, we would flip houses when we weren't busy. We'd keep our guys busy during the winter because everything's really seasonal where we're at in PA. And it never happened. We decided, well, I decided that one day I was just going to leave the business, told him he could do whatever he wants with it. It wasn't really worth anything. Um, so I did that and had my real estate license in the meantime. I keep skipping ahead on things, but I did get my real estate license while I was working that corporate job, because I thought we're going to do a lot of flips. This is going to be
Sure.
great. This is the one piece of the puzzle to scale in this real estate business that I didn't have was a really good contractor. And I thought, well, what better than having a partner as a contractor
Yep.
to make this happen? And so the only thing that I felt I was missing was a good real estate agent. I just couldn't find them. I mean, there's plenty of them out there. I just didn't really get to know any. So I thought I'm just gonna get my license and do it myself, save myself a little bit of money. I knew more about the settlement sheet and the process than the realtors I was working with at the time, and it just didn't seem like they were adding a lot of value. So I decided I'm going to get my license and we're going to flip houses, and it's going to be great. So going back to our separation, I left the business, had nothing going on except for I had my real estate license.
And how long did you guys work together for?
About a year and a half.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Enough to get to know each other and not enough to completely break up and never talk to each other
Yeah,
again.
he was really talented in areas that I'm not, and vice versa. And I think it frustrated each other. Especially I could see it on his end. Like if I was on the job with him, I couldn't keep up. Because
Sure.
it just came like everything came second nature to him. And I was the one slowing him down.
Hmm.
So then I would go do bids because I knew the numbers. But then he would be like, I've been busting my butt on these jobs for years, and you're the one driving around the truck all day. So it just kind of ended up coming to a head. But in the meantime, I had my real estate license and actually had somebody that reached out to me about buying a house. And it wasn't even on my radar to represent other people. And I actually told him to call a different realtor. Um, and like an hour later, I called him back. I said, I can show you houses. I got a license. And that was my first sale. That was February of 2014.
Okay, when the market has already more or less stabilized, went
It
back to
stabilized, yeah.
normal.
So I made my first sale, and I thought, well, this is kind of nice. Maybe I can do this. I had a lot of skills that I acquired over the years that um, really helped me in that field. The finance degree. Um, I'm really good with numbers and the flipping experience and investing in real estate, having some rentals, and then the construction experience really helped me understand real estate um, from maybe a different point of view than a lot of my competitors. So I sold 2 million in real estate my first 6 months,
Wow,
and I
that's
thought,
impressive.
well, I'll, yeah, I thought, well, this is cool. I'm going to keep doing this. I wasn't quite sure what else to do, and I really did enjoy it. And I was just hoping to pay my bills at the time. That was my goal. Just make sure you can pay your bills.
Yeah, and in 2014, Brad, 2 million is a lot of money, especially for someone in mid-20s, right? You were like 26, 27 then?
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I don't know exactly what age it is, but yeah, I was. Late 20s, early 30s, probably around 30. Yeah, around 30.
Hmm.
And I ended up my second year was better than my first. My third was better than my second, and it just kept growing and growing. Actually, my third year, I had a broker. I walked into his office to hand him the deposit check, and he goes, you set a record for the most transactions for agent in our area. It was like 76 transactions in a year, my third year in business.
Wow.
And I said, no, I didn't know that. I wasn't even paying attention to those numbers. I just had my head down and was working hard. And he goes, well, as brokers, we pay attention to that stuff. And I was like, oh, so ever since then, I've been tracking my numbers, or I had someone that was working for me tracking those numbers. And last year we did almost 50 million.
Wow.
Um, so it's grown quite a bit.
And
And
it's sales and purchases both that you do?
yeah, so the real estate brokerage, I started as a single agent. I hired an assistant that ended up being my buyer's agent. Then we were too busy for the two of us. I hired another assistant for both of us. And long story short, I have 18 agents that sell for me now.
Wow.
I just hired 4 new ones. I opened a new brokerage in the beginning of this year, January 1st.
That's your second brokerage, right, Brad?
Well, yeah, I worked for another company prior till January 1st of this year, and I opened up my own brokerage, my own brand. Um,
Congratulations.
it's going very, very well. So we've got a huge amount of the market share where I'm at. Um, and in the meantime, I've continued to invest in rentals and other real estate opportunities. And real estate's been very good to me. It's opened up a lot of doors to invest in other things as well. So I currently have about 90 units, mostly
All single family or multi?
a mix. I have some residential, some commercial, mostly residential, and then I have probably around 10 single families left when I'm starting to sell those. But I sold one last month. Yeah, most are smaller multifamilies. Um, Biggest one I have is an 11 unit. I have a 10 unit. Um, but other than that, I have most of them are like 2, 3, 4 units properties. So
What made you decide to start selling single family
the
houses?
market's really good right now for them. I'd rather take that money and leverage it into bigger investments. So I'm trying to raise some capital right now for some other opportunities. I don't have anything, specific in mind at the moment, but I just want to be ready when something does present itself. So I'm just trying to raise a little bit more cash right now. Um, and I have enough. It I'm kind of at the point in my life where what I'm looking at buying right now needs to I'm not looking just to collect doors. I'm looking for the right tax benefits when I'm buying to because I have a tax problem now with the income I've created. Um, it's not fun getting 6-figure tax bills.
Of course, that's a good problem to have, Brad, although
Yeah.
it's still a problem, I understand.
But yeah, now I'm looking at, every year I want to buy a property that's at least, $1 million or more so I can cost seg that and, take the upfront depreciation on it to reduce my tax burden. But um,
So
so
what kind of property are you looking for in that regard?
bigger properties than what I have now. Yeah, so I'm starting to sell my smaller stuff, and hopefully I can 1031. I'm not going to 1031 all of it, but if I can 1031 into a property and not pay tax on the gain, and then cost seg that property that I just bought, it's a really nice strategy to avoid taxes. Um,
Of course, that makes perfect sense. So you're just looking at bigger commercial property, and does it have to be multifamily, or would it be any other type of commercial property, maybe retail, mixed use, and so
Yeah,
forth?
anything. I'm not really the only thing I don't want to get into, I don't think, is industrial. It's just not I just don't have enough experience there. I mean, I have some warehouse space. It's not big, it's like 16,000 square feet. Um,
It's decent size.
and I have some commercial retail space, but yeah, I'm not looking to get into any industrial. That's like the only thing I don't want to get into. Um, But I'm looking at trailer parks, mobile home parks, storage units, whatever makes sense.
So are you primarily looking locally in your area in central Pennsylvania?
Um, yeah, that's kind of my focus. I'm not opposed to other opportunities. It's just it's easier for me because I have the resources here. Um,
Sure. So, Brad, that's a great journey. Let's take our audience a little bit back to where you were progressing in your career as a real estate agent, and your broker had noticed that you're doing really well, and you started tracking it. Tell us a little bit more of what were you tracking, and how did you make sure that you've been excelling continuously in your journey?
Yeah, I mean, I just had my assistant track our transactions and, keep count of what we're doing. I never, I mean, I know our MLS does that too, but it's kind of funny at the time. I didn't even know that you could look that stuff up. Now I look at it all the time, but
Right.
leads. I mean, lead generation was the most important thing. That's the leading indicator to how many transactions you're going to close. So we focused on leads, and we still do that today. So if you're not generating leads continuously, you're not closing continuously either. So that's what we focus on.
In addition to leads, did you get a lot from referrals? I mean, it sounds like you were doing and still doing stuff locally, so a lot of people probably know you in the area.
Yeah, I from what I can remember, I was the first person in my area to have a big social media following.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
I kind of got on it before everyone else was. So I think that's helped me quite a bit. I'm way ahead of my competition locally in that area. I
What
I was
platform did you use?
say that again.
What platform did you use for social
Face,
media?
Facebook.
Facebook. Mhm.
Still using it effectively today. I being owning several business or a couple of businesses prior, I knew a lot of people. I had a lot of connections, so that helped. And it's a
Sure.
small town, so everyone knows you. Um, so it was easy to spread the word of what I was doing.
Of course.
Gaining people's confidence was probably the biggest uphill battle, but I had some good experience. I think that was that had good synergies with the real estate business that helped me too a lot. And I would focus on trying to take away the pain points in the transaction. Um, like I had my own contractors to make repairs when they came up in inspections. I even bought a moving truck
Oh,
um,
wow.
in case there was an emergency, which happens so often. People are loading a truck up and they realize it's not big enough.
Wow.
We're closing in a few hours. um, so I was just prepared for things that would pop up, um, where I could be the solution to the problem. Which
That's
I
an
think is the
impressive.
best way to get paid is to solve people's problems. So,
Of course. Yeah, no, I like that. You sound like an accountant that has everything on cash but doesn't have any receivables. Everything's already in the house, which is
oh,
awesome. So in terms of your growth, and I like how you put it, you've been the solution to the problem. Um, did you keep the problems in your head, or did you kind of try to list down what could potential problems be and how can I solve them ahead of time?
um, I did yeah, I'm bad at that. Keeping things in my head. I kept too many things in my head for too long. Uh, instead of having like really good systems and processes in place, which is what we spent like last year focusing on. We're still working on refining that this year. I didn't even have a CRM until a couple of years ago, and we're still learning how to use it effectively. But I had no systems or processes. We were just working, 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 and just no. I'm almost embarrassed to say it, and no real strategy besides generate leads and close. I did. We were bad at
Seemed to
follow.
work well for you.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it did work well. But the bigger you grow, the harder it is to maintain that. And I kind of felt like we were stagnant for a few years. I mean, we had really good numbers. We were probably twice our next competitor in sales um, for years, but we were kind of stuck there. I think this year we're breaking through. It feels like we're really having a better year this year than we were last couple. Um, But as we grow, I'm focusing more and more on that, having the processes in place, systems in place to make sure that everyone that's working under me can succeed and not kind of make the sacrifices that I've had to make to be successful. I really neglected myself for a decade, which I regret. If I could go back and do things all over again, I wouldn't do them the way I did.
How would you do it?
Well, I mean, I learned to make time for myself first thing in the morning. Um, I block out 6 to 9 a.m. every day now. I would get up and get right to work before, and I'd always tell myself there'll be time later, and there never was. And then I started having health problems, and um, it's just I wasn't good to myself for about a decade, and there was almost a complete inverse relationship between my success and my health. The more successful I got, the less healthy I got,
Wow.
and I think I caught it in time, hopefully. But
Excellent. Good to
it's
hear.
it's kind of an expensive lesson to learn, and I'm trying to make sure that other people that are working under me don't make the same mistakes because everybody wants to be successful. They see how hard I drive and how hard I work, and I think some of them for sure, want to aspire to that, but um, I certainly don't want everyone to make the same mistakes that I made there.
Makes sense. So is this sort of like your morning routine, 6 to 9, to take time to yourself?
Yeah, read, gym. Right now, I'm real focused on the working out. Um, this morning I was at the gym and um, just I it's kind of funny. I don't know if you ever heard of this brain tap. It's a it's a neurotherapy
Mhm.
device that you wear. It's got headphones and like a light visor that goes over your eyes.
Mhm.
It's kind of funny looking when you wear it, but it's like forced meditation. Uh,
Okay.
so I'll do a little bit of that too. Not every day, but but most days. But being outside right now this time of year, spending some time walking, getting in the gym, um, working on my nutrition is the most important thing at the moment.
Excellent.
So once I get that out of the way, then I can focus on everything else.
Got it.
I've
Love
learned
it.
I learned if you do it first thing in the morning before people have a time to wake up and ask you for things, you're more likely to succeed in that area. So
Absolutely. Makes perfect sense. So you give time to yourself and then you're a lot more energized to go with your day and do things and make positive impact and work with other people
correct.
throughout the
Can't
day.
pour from an empty cup.
It makes sense. So Brad, let's talk a little bit more on how you went from working for someone else to starting your own brokerage this year, with 18 agents. Like, did you hire them all at once? Were these people working with you in the past? How did all of that happen?
Yeah, so I had my own team, and we had our own office too, um, inside of my old brokerage. So there was 14 of us and two transaction coordinators, and I moved. So I'm able to offer more options now to people. I think at some point there might be some people on my team that outgrow the team. So now I can offer them different options with my own brokerage. And then I've been attracting new talent. We've hired some really good agents this year and looking forward to seeing what we can do together there. Um,
How did you do that? How do you attract good talent?
um, Honestly, I've never recruited anybody. They've all come to me. And I think it's just
Oh,
being good talent yourself, and
very good example.
setting a good example, and you attract that to yourself, and that's kind of way the where it's been for me.
Excellent.
So people
Excellent.
wonder what is this guy doing that's making him so much more successful than all the other agents in the area. I almost feel kind of bragging saying that, but if you look at the numbers, they don't lie. And
Yeah.
it's just, yeah, I mean, I'm attracting people to me. And I've had to turn some people away. I don't feel like they're going to fit the culture that we've created. But you know, I'm proud of what we got. I have a really good team, and I think we're just gonna keep growing. My next step is, you know, multiple offices. So we'll start hopefully the end of this year, maybe early next year, opening up some new offices. But I can see it growing.
Where do you plan to open offices? Close to your area, or you want to spread out?
Yeah, there's two areas that I wanna get offices in that are, you know, within about 30-minute drive from my current office. Um, they're bigger, you know, metropolitan areas, if you want to call them that. Lehigh Valley and Reading, PA.
Sure.
Um,
And what is your vision for that? You want to open more offices to grow in that area, or is there another plan down the road with all these offices?
Yeah, I just want to scale the brokerage. You know, I'm finding myself to be more and more in the real estate agent business than the real estate business. I think what I've learned and what I've created over the years, if I can replicate that with other people and help them build powerful teams, I think everyone can win that way. So that's what I'm kind of looking to do.
Do you feel that at this point you're working in a business or on a business?
Still too much in the business. That's one of the things that I'm trying to fix. And I have some other businesses where I'm doing it right. And you know, this one I'm too deep in the weeds, but I have delegated a whole lot more in the last 6 to 8 months to my team. I mean, last year I wouldn't have time to be on this call with you. It never would have happened. Um, but
Excellent.
Yeah, I'm definitely doing better in that, and I see the value in that. And you know, the network that I've surrounded myself with, you know, I see those guys and girls that are highly successful, you know, leading the way and um, teaching me, you know, what I need to do there to scale. Um, so that's I'm very focused on that at the moment, removing myself where I can and creating
Excellent.
opportunities for other people. So,
And that's excellent. And since you mentioned that you're making more time for yourself and hopefully for friends and family, what do you like to do for fun?
well, I'm going on a fishing trip in the first week in June, going to northwestern Quebec, and took up pickleball over the winter. That's
Right?
I used to make fun of my friends that played pickleball. I said it was for old people,
It's
and
becoming very popular, yeah.
now I'm playing like 6 hours a week.
Wow.
And
Impressive.
it's a great workout. Yeah, it got me moving again more than I have previously. So it feels good. I played 2.5 hours yesterday, and I'm gonna play again tomorrow night.
That's
Um,
amazing.
yeah, I play pickleball, I golf, I like hanging out with my family and friends, and um, I got two dogs I love spending time with,
Awesome.
and yeah, the last 10 years have been a whole lot of work, not much play. So trying
But
to
you're moving
add a
in the
little,
right direction. It sounds
yeah.
like you've had excellent progress. Amazing. Thank you. Brad, as the last couple of questions, we usually ask our audience, how do you like to give back?
Um, Basically, it's been more financially. I'm trying to give more time this year. We do a lot with the local Lions Club, which I'm a member of. And just this past weekend, we had a 5K that I helped out, actually participated in. I
Nice.
sponsored, and we do a lot for the community through the Lions Club. Homelessness in our area isn't a huge problem, but we do have some issues in the nearby. It's what we call our city. It's the largest population in our county. We do have some issues there. We raised some money last year for that. Um, I I hope to at some point buy a house to donate for homelessness. That's kind of on my agenda. And then I love aerial recovery. I don't know if you ever heard of them.
I have.
Um, yeah, I love what they do and their mission. So we support them financially as well. And that's all I could think of at the moment.
What is the Lions Club mission? I've heard of Lions Club, but I don't know what that
So
means.
that's an international civic organization, like Rotary or
Okay.
Mason or something like that. So we have a local chapter, and basically we just raise money for the community, and all the money we raise gets funneled back into community projects. We just had this fundraiser this past weekend for the walking trail. We raised $6,000 for that.
Wow, awesome.
Um, it was our second 5K that we did. We have a chicken barbecue coming up Memorial Day. We'll raise a lot of money for that. We do golf tournaments, and everything we do just goes right back into Origsburg, which is my hometown. So
Ex-
um, yeah, it's a good group doing good things.
Very nice, very nice. And Brad, the last question that we ask our interviewees is, how can our listeners find you? Is there a website, social media, or anything else you want to share?
Yeah, you can go on my website, mullenrealty.com. My Facebook handle is, I should know this by the top of my head, but I don't. It's facebook.com/ Brad Mullen team.
Okay,
Um, and then my personal page, I'm not quite sure what that is, but I'm not hard to find online.
got it.
So you can
Okay.
find me pretty easily online.
So
Um,
it's mullenrealty.com and then on Facebook through your professional and personal page. And you go online as Brad Mullen, correct?
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. If you type in my name and realtor behind it or Brad Mullen team, I'm sure I'll pop up. But yeah, I mean, we talked, recently about when you opened up, you talked about real estate and how, it's not the only thing I do. Um, but it's created opportunities for me to get involved in some other things. So I also own a title insurance company.
Amazing.
Um, and I have a partner in that. I have a lot of partners. I've been lucky to be successful in partnering with the right people. So that's kind of one of I love focusing on investing in others and finding ways that I can leverage the talents of other people and my talents and how they can work together synergistically. So title company works great for me. I have a great partner in that. I also own a medical billing company, which um, thanks to um, real estate and the success I've had there, I've had the capital to invest in starting this business. And I have my girlfriend, she's been in the business 20 years. She runs that. She's the operations director there. And that business is growing probably as fast, if not faster, than my real estate business.
Amazing.
And that's a great business. We have a great team there. I own a laundromat. Actually, I have two laundromats, but only one operating at the moment.
Boy, you're busy.
Yeah, and then we have a real estate development company. I have another partner in that. We're building spec homes and developing, lots. We're buying one-off lots that we find, and we're developing those, and we're flipping houses. We do quite a bit together there. So I love investing in a lot of different things. So
I can tell, and it sounds like you also have a talent for attracting the right people to you. Love that.
yes,
That's really amazing. Brad, this has been an incredible interview. Thank you for sharing your experience, your life story. And I hope our listeners will reach out to you again to find Brad. You can go to mullenrealty.com or find him on Facebook through his personal or professional pages. Thank you, Brad. Thank you
thank
very
you for
much.
having me. It's nice talking to you again.
Likewise.
See you soon.